I mentioned in part one that I would talk about trapping your floats, and you can see in back here, you've got this big long float, and it's not a problem, but when you go across too many stitches, it can get pretty uneven, and it can get to be something that you get caught in. This happens a lot less with the wool that you're using because it will kind of mat onto itself, it'll felt onto itself. But I want to show you how to trap a float. Everybody has different rules for when they do it and for how often they do it. I tend to not go more than 3 stitches without trapping. So if I'm going, there's 5 stitches here, 5 blue stitches, and I want to trap my brown yarn behind my blue stitch. So the way that I do that is put the needle through as I usually do for a knit stitch, bring the color that I'm trapping over the needle, then wrap, and then take it off, take the brown off. And you can see that my blue is going to come through. So the blue comes through, and I'm going to snug up the blue. This time there's nothing showing on the front. There's nothing showing on the front. There is really not much showing on the back. I'm going to snug that brown up just a little bit, not at all tight, but just so that it's not flopping free. And then I'm going to stretch out the stitches on my right needle again. You can see that that brown has now gotten trapped over the back of this blue stitch. And I'm going to knit a couple of more blue stitches so that you can really see what happened there. So that was 1, 2, 3. I need 2 more blue stitches. 1, 2. I really don't know how to throw. Okay, but now you can see that that brown yarn, for just that one stitch that we trapped the float on, is now coming above the blue yarn. I think it is time for 2. It's now time for a brown stitch, so 1, and make sure the yarn goes over the needle. If you're very right-handed, you can kind of hold on to it. See how it comes through? Pull it out like that. And now you can see that the blue will come over it. When I knit my next blue stitch, it will be over the brown yarn. So that's what they mean when they talk about color dominance, that my brown yarn is always underneath, my blue yarn is always over the top, unless I intentionally trap the brown stitch. And you just need to stay consistent. Dominance is a really subtle thing, and it doesn't matter that much unless you're really meticulous, which I actually am. But you want to make sure to keep the same color in the same hand, or the same color on the same side. So once you've decided that your brown yarn is dominant, you want to always keep that in your left hand. You don't want to switch hands with which yarn you use. And there's a method for trapping the other yarn too, and I'll show you that in a separate video.